to LoudAndBlox. Millie here. Harry ruined my fashion show, stood frozen in the middle of the grand finale in front of 50 people, and texted me afterwards to say it went really well. He used the word lol. So, Harry ruined my fashion show. He knows he ruined it. I know he ruined it. 50 people who were there know he ruined it. The only person who somehow arrived at a different conclusion is Harry. He texted me afterwards and said, and I am going to read this exactly as written, I think that actually went really well in the end, lol. I stared at that message for quite a long time. Let me tell you what that was. But first, Harry posted his game night video. I watched it. He used the phrase dismantled his social life. I joined a group chat. That is apparently what dismantling looks like. He also said I didn't even try, which I find interesting because I did do prep work. I remembered everyone's names. I made callbacks to previous conversations. I was a considerate and engaged guest. That is called trying, Harry. That is called being a good guest. He also mentioned the spreadsheet 3 times in one video. I counted. He ended the video by saying he was going to pick a game so difficult that I could possibly be good at it immediately. I want to go on record right now and say I'm not worried. I'm just not. He can update the spreadsheet as many times as he likes. Anyway, that is yesterday's situation. Today's situation is considerably worse and involves a fashion show, which Harry also attended and also ruined in a completely new and creative way. So let's talk about that. For context, I have been running Roblox fashion show events with my friends for several months. We have a dedicated server, a custom runway, audience seating, a judging system, themed rounds. It takes organization, and I am good at organization. These are established facts. 2 weeks ago, I began planning the biggest event we'd done, a proper showcase. I designed 5 outfit themes. I rebuilt the runway completely from scratch with a working light sequence I programmed myself. I sent invitations across 3 different friend groups. I coordinated with my friend Priya, who was co-hosting. I made a schedule. I made a backup schedule in case the first one ran behind. 50 confirmed attendees. Every detail was handled. The morning of the show, Harry found out about it. He asked if he could watch. I said, fine, he could watch. Sit in the audience, don't touch anything, just watch. I want everyone to hold on to that. Don't touch anything, just watch. I said both of those things out loud to his face before the show started. So, the show begins. 5 minutes in, the first model is on the runway. The lighting sequence is running perfectly. Priya and I are commentating. The audience is engaged. Everything is exactly as planned. And then, Harry, from the audience section where I specifically placed him, types in the server chat, how do you change the camera angle? I see this message. I am mid-sentence in my commentary. I type back one-handed, you don't, just watch. He types, okay. 30 seconds pass. The runway collapses. Not a minor glitch, not a small visual error. The entire custom runway structure, 4 evenings of construction, folds inward and disappears through the floor. Gone, in front of 50 people, while a model is standing on it. I typed to Harry, what did you do? He typed, I just pressed one button, I didn't think it would do that. One button. He located, navigated to, and pressed the specific admin demolition function that I had enabled for server maintenance purposes, which means that at some point during those 30 seconds, while I was managing a live event, Harry had quietly found his way into the server permission settings and upgraded his own access level. He gave himself admin access during my fashion show to watch. And then, Harry typed into the main chat in front of the entire audience, I'll fix it. I typed no in capitals. I typed do not touch anything else in capitals. I do not use all caps as a rule because I find it unnecessarily aggressive. I made an exception. He had already started fixing it before I finished the first message. His fix involved placing individual parts from the build inventory approximately where the runway used to be. They were different colors, different sizes. The proportions made no sense. One of them was a sphere. There was no logical reason for a sphere to be there. It was not a runway. It looked like someone had emptied a toy box in the dark and called it architecture. Priya, to her enormous credit, kept the commentary going. I kept my voice steady. The models walked on Harry's sphere runway. The audience was confused but present. We were going to get through this. And then, Harry typed into the audience chat, the public chat that all 50 attendees could see. This is actually going great. And then a laughing emoji. And then, the sphere was a bold choice, Millie. Several audience members responded, positively. One person said the sphere added texture. Another said it was giving avant-garde. They were complimenting my brother's accidental sphere. He had begun receiving audience engagement at my fashion show, during the show. And then, someone in the audience asked Harry what the next round's theme was going to be. Harry told them, incorrectly. He described a round we had cut from the schedule 2 days before because we ran out of preparation time. The audience got excited about a round that did not exist. Priya sent me a quiet message that said, "What do we do?" And I sent back, "I'm handling it," because I was handling it, because I always handle it. And then, we were mid-show. It was not perfect, but it was moving forward. My friend Zara was about to do her round. She had an incredible outfit. She had been preparing for days. This was her moment. The music started for her section. It was the wrong music. Not slightly wrong, completely wrong. Fast, chaotic, no connection whatsoever to Zara's elegant and carefully considered look. I looked at the server audio settings. Harry had found the music panel. He had, in his own words, thought the energy needed a boost. Zara walked the runway to completely wrong music. She handled it with grace because Zara is a professional. I fixed the music for the remaining rounds and did not look at Harry's section of the chat for several minutes because I needed to stay focused. And then, I got the show back on track. The middle rounds ran well. The audience was re-engaged with the actual show. Priya and I found our rhythm. I began to believe we were going to land this properly. The grand finale. 2 weeks of planning distilled into one final sequence. All 5 models on the runway, simultaneously. Full light sequence, the music I had actually chosen. Priya and I had a scripted commentary we had rehearsed. This was the moment. The music started, the lights ran perfectly. The models walked out, one by one, and they looked incredible, and the audience was reacting exactly as I'd hoped, and Priya was delivering her lines perfectly, and I was, and it was working. Harry's avatar spawned in the center of the runway, facing the wrong direction, completely still. He had stepped away from his keyboard at some point in the previous 2 minutes, and his avatar had been repositioned by the server to a default spawn location, which happened to be the exact center of my runway. He was just standing there, a statue, in the middle of everything, while 5 models navigated around him. Priya, without missing a beat, said, "And a very special surprise guest appearance, Harry." The audience loved it. Someone said it was the highlight of the show. Someone else said it was the most dramatic entrance they had ever seen. 3 people asked if it was planned. It was not planned. Harry came back to his keyboard. He looked at the screen. He walked his avatar off the runway, slowly, calmly, in full view of everyone, taking his time, and then typed into the main chat, "No problem." NP. No problem. He typed "no problem," as though he had done something intentional and resolved it helpfully, as though 2 letters was an appropriate response to having stood frozen in someone's grand finale like a decorative obstacle. I read that message, and something shifted very quietly behind my left eye and has not moved since. After the show, everyone has left. Priya and I are sitting in the empty server looking at what remains. Harry joins back in. He looks around and he types, "I think that actually went really well in the end. Lol." Lol. He used lol. I asked him what specifically went well. He said, "People seem to enjoy it." People enjoyed it in spite of you, Harry. They enjoyed Priya's composure and my commentary, and Zara's professionalism and the parts of the show that survived contact with your curiosity. They did not enjoy you. They didn't even know you were the problem. They thought the sphere was a design choice. They thought the frozen avatar was a planned, dramatic moment. You received credit for chaos and called it a success. I find that genuinely impressive in a way I am not ready to say out loud. Here is the thing about Harry. He is not difficult on purpose. That is what makes this so complicated. When he gave himself admin access, he thought it might be useful. When he pressed the button, he was curious. When he tried to fix the runway, he was trying to fix the runway. When he played the wrong music, he thought the energy needed a boost. When he stood in the middle of my finale, he had simply stepped away for a moment. Not a single moment was malicious. All of it was catastrophic. If he had done it on purpose, I could be fully, cleanly, properly furious. Instead, I have to be furious at good intentions and an unfortunate series of events, which is a much harder thing to stay angry about. I am mostly angry, not fully, mostly. The show did happen. 50 people attended, and most of them left happy. Priya and I held it together in circumstances that would have unraveled lesser hosting partnerships. People said it was a great event, which either means we are genuinely excellent hosts, or the bar is extremely low, and I choose to believe the former. I have already started planning the next one. Harry will not be receiving an invitation, or admin access, or any information that the event is taking place. He texted me this morning asking about the next show. I have not replied. I'm going to continue not replying and observe what happens. Tomorrow, Harry is going to give you his version of this story, in which he was a supportive presence who contributed positively to the event. I am telling you right now, in advance, so that you are fully briefed. That version is fiction. Probably entertaining fiction, because Harry tells a good story, but fiction. Subscribe so you're there for it, then come back here and remember what actually happened. This has been Millie. Harry's upset, apparently. Shocking. Absolutely shocking.